We've got a great edition of Finish Strong tonight. We like to hang out with winners, and we've got one tonight. You're about to meet one of Texas high school football's winningest coaches in the last 100 years. He is the Texas High School Coaches Association inducted him into their Hall of Honor. He has tons of championships. We'll get into it, but if you know anyone who is a sports fan, tell them to listen to this edition of Finish Strong. I'm joined by two other football fans, Brian Rowland and Terry Steen. Terry, you and I had a pretty good flag football career in college.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is going to take me back to my football days, but all I have is college intramurals. So
yeah, Terry and I were baseball and basketball, and Brian, you played football till you shattered your knee, right?
Shattered a knee and broke my thigh, and so that ended that, and ended up being a wrestler for a while.
Yeah, and there went the NFL career.
That's it.
All right. Well, if you can imagine, this guy won 7 district championships, 2 state championships. He was the first coach ever to win state championships at the 5A level in both Divisions 1 and 2 in Texas. He coached at Louisville High School, twice voted the Texas High School Coach of the Year, and co-author of the Life Coach Small Town Lessons of Faith, Family, and Football that he co-wrote with Tom Thompson. Guys, he's the real deal because Texas football is a real big deal.
Oh, yeah. And did you ever watch the TV program Friday Night Lights?
I did indeed.
That told the story, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm excited.
Let's bring him on right now and say hi to Coach Ronnie Gage, everybody. Coach Gage, hey, Coach. Nice to have you.
Ed, yeah, welcome.
Hey guys, thank you. Look forward to it. This will be fun.
You know, Coach Gage, everybody knows Friday Night Lights about Texas football. Is Texas football, high school football, is it as big as they say? Does the whole town shut down on Friday night?
You know, it really is, and it really does. It's always been that way, and you know, we're pretty proud of that fact. To be a coach in the state of Texas and have the opportunities that we get year in and year out is special. And to wear that title of coach is even more special. So, yeah, it's big. It is big, but there's parts of it that are a whole lot bigger than the game itself.
Yeah, that's true. And we're going to get into that. You have a long list of accomplishments. I mentioned some of those. Which of those makes you smile the most when you hear them? When I mentioned that you were twice voted the high school coach of the year, first to win at the 5A level state championships in Division 1 and 2, 7 district championships. Is there one that stands out?
You know, for me, the biggest accomplishment was getting elected into the Texas High School Hall of Honor. It was a result of the success that we had over the years. And you know, I relate that to a lot of things. I was around wonderful people in good school districts with great kids. And I had a tremendous coaching staff and, you know, just a lot of support along the way. But, you know, when you look at the state of Texas and you look at the successful coaches across the state of Texas over the years, to be included in that group, for me was really huge.
Well, you won 2 state championships, and you were telling me a little bit about the first one. It was close, and you said you couldn't even swallow. You were so nervous. Take us back to that game. Tell us what happened in the final moments.
Well, the game was 43-37, and both quarterbacks pretty much took the game over about the middle of the second quarter on, and it was going to be, it boiled down to who was going to get the ball last. They scored with 2 minutes, 50 seconds left, kicked off to us, and we drove the ball down to midfield, and we had a 4th and 1 facing us, and it was do or die. We used the last time out we had, and I was telling you yesterday, Daniel, our coaches like to get in your ear on everything, and that particular time, that particular play, I turned around and I felt like I was on an island by myself. You couldn't find a coach any part of that decision. A little quarterback looked at me and says, "Coach, I can get it. This is like a movie." We had a play called, we just called it Tinker. You'd call any play, and it was a naked bootleg off. We were going to fake the play, and he was going to keep it out the back door. And he says, "Coach, I can get it if you run Tinker." And I said, "Chad, you got to get it, buddy." He says, "I'll get it." And long story short, he got it with a 5-yard face mask penalty. The next series, we had a 3rd and 8. We completed the pass up the middle, and we ended up scoring with 27 seconds left on the clock. And
nice.
Wow.
they ran it back to midfield. We made a great play to stop them from running the thing back, and held them one play, and the game was over. But
wow,
it's still
that's
one
fantastic.
of the top 10 playoff games ever played in the Astrodome. It was really
sounds like it.
That's great.
But
you
I
played in the
Coach, what do you think?
I couldn't spit. Man, my mouth was dry. It was a tough.
What do you think your keys to your success is, Coach?
Number one is again being in good places. People that believe in the that athletics has a place in the educational process. There's a lot of schools that don't, and I've always been in places that I had a lot of support out of the administration and the parents, and then surrounding yourself with great people. I've had great coaches work with me over the years, and we had a lot of fun and made a lot of memories. And just working, I told Danielle my biggest philosophy is very simple. It's just, set your expectations, be consistent with those expectations on a daily basis, and love them. And if you do those 3 things, I don't know what else you can do. And we worked our kids extremely hard, and we loved them.
Well, that's interesting, because I was going to ask you how you set the tone for a successful season at your first practice. I mean, you get the ball rolling right there, and it's like of course, you get respect from your players of who you are and what you've accomplished. But how do you set the tone like that at your first practice?
Well, it starts. We get an off season. We get an athletic period down here in Texas, so we get them during the off season for an hour, and we develop our work habits and our work ethic during the spring, and we're very consistent with that. And again, we hold each kid accountable. We expect the same, whether you're at the top of the tier or the bottom of the tier, and we hold them accountable for what they do and how they work and the way they approach. And I just think you gotta be demanding. You got to be consistent. It's just like growing up. Our parents had expectations of us. We had work details we had to do, and but you did it every day until the point you didn't have to be told to do it. You just did it. That's kind of the same thing. We got to coach hard, and working hard and playing hard becomes a habit, and that's what we tried to do. Is make it good at.
Terry, that's why you're not a coach. You always set the bar low, right?
Yeah. I continually trip over it. It's very frustrating.
We tripped over that bar too, Terry. So,
Hey, Coach, you talked about parents. Take us back to your childhood a little bit. I understand you lost your father when you were around 12, and tell us how that affected you. And I know you can never replace a father, but what did you do as far as role models and men to help you in your life? Give us a little sense there.
Yeah, there was 4 of us, and we lost our dad when I was 12, and I have an older sister and a younger sister and a younger brother. And my mom, of course, was a hero. She raised all 4 of us and did a tremendous job. But it was at an age when you're entering competitive athletics, and they started in middle school here. And I just had great mentors in my coaches. I really looked up to the coaches I had, and became close, and just knew that athletics was. It was kind of my, the field house was kind of my safe place, and God was my guidance. The field house was my safe place, and my faith is what got me through, and just developed relationships and attitudes, and it was a great experience growing up, as a high school, junior high school athlete, because of the people I had looking over.
Yeah, when did you become a Christian?
You know what? It was about that time. It was actually between my 12th year and my 7th grade and 8th grade year. I was not quite 13 yet, and I went to a church camp that summer, and it just and I can truly say this: people that feel that tug or feel that need or knows God speaking to you, that's real. That's not something you're just dreaming up. It's real. And he tugged at my heart for a long time. And that church camp, I accepted Christ that week and came back and was baptized in the church the next week. But it was that summer between my 7th and 8th grade year.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, Coach, you wrote a book. I'm wondering if you can hold it up. I want our listeners to go out and get this book. It's called The Life Coach, Small Town Lessons of Faith, Family, and Football. And you co-wrote it with a guy named Emmett C. Tom Thompson. We're going to talk about him later because he's an interesting story. But you talk about the rewards of coaching, and you talk about it in this book. What rewards did you gain, Coach, other than just the wins and the championships?
Every aspect, I think, of my life, I can go back and see God's hand on it. From the time, my dad died until the time until now, there's been several things, that happens, several mountains you have to climb, several adversities you have to overcome. And you've got to learn to deal with success too. That all goes hand in hand. But everything that's happened in my life, I can go back and know that God had his hand in it and was watching over me. Just little things, I took the job at Louisville as an assistant when I was younger, and was offered another job, and I'd already committed to my old high school coach, who was the head coach there at that time, and I stayed. And how prolific if I'd have decided to go ahead and take that other job, which would have been a coaching at a higher level. Who knows what would have happened? But I stayed and ended up 25 years there at Louisville High School, and it's good to me and good to my family. So. Just things like that, and dealing with kids and just and there was never a Friday night that I didn't pray before hitting the field for God's guidance. Never prayed for the win, never just wanted to do well, and a lot of guidance to make sure that I was handling things right. Help me be the right person at the right time for this group of kids, and that's just the way I've always approached life. And there's no doubt that he's played a hand in all that.
Absolutely. You mentioned handling kids. I'm wondering, as a coach, you've got your superstars, your role players, and then kids that I think you referred to them as ghost players. Maybe they're not real talented, but they work hard, they put in the time. How do you balance all those kids, and how do you get the ghost players to feel like they're a big part of the team? We had a habit of after practices or after an tough off-season practice in spring, we were trying to build, team camaraderie and team confidence. And we'd recognize kids for their hard work. And a lot of times when you do those things, it's the good athletes that get noticed because, it comes natural for them. But we always made sure, and I made sure our coaches understood that, to recognize some of those kids that I call ghost kid. And a ghost kid is one that is there for all the right reasons, does everything right, believes in what you're doing, works extremely hard. He's just not a very talented kid, But they're part of your program, and you've got to have those kids to be successful in a program. And I said, you recognize a kid like that, and the first thing he's going to do when he walks in the door at home, he's going to tell mom and dad, say, guess what? Coach recognized me today. He said I did a really good job, But what does it do? It builds confidence in the young man. And so those kids need confidence too. They need confidence builders, just like good athletes do. And on the other side of that, we didn't treat our good athletes any different. Their expectations were the same for them, and they were held accountable if they didn't get the job done. And but we made them feel good about their accomplishments too. Just because they're talented. You still got to get it out of them. They've still got to perform and do the right things. So
that's great.
And that's one of the little things that we did along the way.
Yeah, Coach, I think I already know this answer, but what would you say is the high point of your career?
Oh wow, golly, that's a good question.
Well, maybe I don't know then.
Well, you know, when you win, you win. You feel good about it. And as I said earlier, especially in the state of Texas, you know, to win a championship, it was the first one ever in LISD, and that was huge. You know, being married to my high school sweetheart for 46 years, that ranks pretty high on the, because
there you go.
Influential in the success that we've had, and then again, you know, being elected into the Hall of Honor, and then, you know, the biggest thing was being you know, accepting Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Amen. Amen.
That's great. Was there ever a time, Coach, that you felt like you wanted to quit?
You know what? That's a good question, but no. I told Dan, and I talked a little bit yesterday. I told him I'm very passionate about this title of coach. My grandkids call me coach. That's what they call me. And, you know, we impact more kids, you know, in a day than most people do in a year. Billy Graham said that himself. But it's really important to me, and I got in it for I feel like all the right reasons. I had great guidance, and at the end of the day, I just hope that you look back on your career, and I just hope that I made a difference in a positive way. But yeah, there's been some rough times. There's no doubt about it. There's been, you know, talking about memories. There's some tough losses that stay with you, and they're hard to get rid of. But I just know I enjoy being around kids. I enjoy that coach's office. I enjoy that competitive part of the game. You know, and I was watching the movie Radio the other night, and the old coach came in to resign to the public hearing, and he told him, he said, you know, I love Friday nights when you're looking for that win, and love Saturday mornings after you found one. And man, that's just so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Well, in some of that, Coach, in some of that process, what I know you played football over the years, what were some of the life lessons that you learned through football and through the coaching that you could apply from a life standpoint?
To work at it, you know, to give it all you got, and not go into it defeated before you ever get started. You know, I was a 150-pound center and safety out of Decatur, and there wasn't a big
150-pound center.
Well, at the next level, I wasn't going to get that opportunity. So, you know, I knew the next menu was coaching. But, you know, I learned so many things, and there's so many words that, talking again yesterday, that kids get that you don't necessarily teach out of a book, that you get every day. They're getting part of these words like loyalty, work ethic, commitment, you know, faith, love, fortitude, leadership, just all consistency, continuity, all those things. You know, you go. I could give you a list of 25 words that kids are getting a part of that every day they go out and participate in athletics, whether it's practice, game, or whatever. And those are things they're not learning out of a book. Those are life lessons. And to me, that's why it's such a great profession, because there's so many lessons to be learned, and you can what better way to help a kid grow and mature and get through problems and to grow up and be a good young man or a good person in society. I just don't know that there's a better profession out there.
Well, as a coach, you know that you never know what a day holds, huh? Take us back to that day you were coaching in college, and a 59-year-old man comes walking in your door asking to be on the football team. Give us that.
Waterboy.
It's a great long story, but you might have to compress it because we've only got 6 to 8 minutes left. But give us the big story.
That's a great story. He walks in and sits down at my desk and introduces himself and says, I want to play football. And somebody asked me, said, well, what did you think? And I looked at them and I told him, I said, what would you think? I said, I thought the guy was crazy. and you mentioned there's been a book written at that time that was kind of controversial. And I thought, well, this guy's got an agenda of some kind, or you're always you're looking for that reason. Why are you here?
Right.
But it was a bucket list thing, and he wanted to do it. And he actually had a year of eligibility, and AD got involved. And we ended up letting him come out, and he was actually a good support for the locker room, for those younger kids. He was practice. He was a self-made kicker. He wasn't very good at all. And honestly, I let him kick. The last game I was at Austin College, we playing Trinity, and we scored. And I said, "All right, Tom, go in. It's the last game of the year. Go in. This is yours." And he goes in, and he'll tell you he kicked it right through the uprights, right down the middle. But it skimmed the left upright and the cross. And got over. But, the rest is history. And we became really good friends, close friends after it was all said and done. And he convinced me to write this book.
And isn't he in the record books?
He is in the record books. He was
Coach, he's in the NCAA?
Yes, sir. He was the oldest player in NCAA history to score a point in the NCAA game. And if I'm not mistaken, his jersey is now there in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame. But,
wow. And you guys became great friends, and he helped you write your book.
Yes, for sure. And he had written a couple, and the lady that wrote the book with us or for us, the ghostwriter, she had written a couple of books for him. And he's got a son that'll be a senior this year that plays, and he calls me every Friday. I talk to him every Friday. We have
Does he really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And
fantastic.
Once a year, my son coaches, but I'll take a night and go to Coppell where his son plays and watch him play. And
wow, that's great.
But no, we still stay in touch, and Thomas become a really loyal friend.
Super. We've just got a little bit of time, but I think you mentioned your son coaching, and here's an amazing thing that's happened with you. Over 50, at least 50, maybe well over of your former players went into coaching, including your son and daughter. How does that make you feel?
You know what? It makes me feel really good. And I certainly don't take credit for that, but I hope that the reasons they got into coaching were the same reasons I did, is because they had a great experience coming up through the program in high school during their career. And it helped them decide what they wanted to do, because that's certainly the reason I got into it. And it's fun to watch them. I'm very close to most of them, and enough to where, I can talk to them on a daily basis and see them. And actually, my little quarterback that coached our 96 championship team is now the head coach at Louisville High School, where, he played and I coached all those years. Yes, sir. And they're having a lot of
the kid.
Things like that are really neat.
Wow, the kid that got the first down.
Yeah.
It's
super.
It's fun.
Do you run into
fun.
your former players often?
Yes, sir, quite a bit. And I just got back from Houston, our annual coaching school, and they started several years ago. They got it from Hardin Simmons, is where they got it, but it's just a little get together, and it's basically to honor my wife and I. And it's nothing more than a social hour, and we get together, and those that are there, they can come. We may have 10 show up a particular year, or we may have 30. It just depends on who made the trip, who's down there, and who wants to take the time to come over. So I get to see several of them, and I see new faces every year. I'll see one or two that I hadn't seen in several years. I still have several of them that'll call me. I still see several of them, coach and play, and not play but coach. But yeah, I try to stay in touch with a bunch of them. And I've had one or two that actually wrote in my book as a lead in. So it's just such a great match. There's so many rewards out of this thing. Cool. It's just one of them.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, we are in the fourth quarter, and this is a 2-minute warning. We got to really speed through the next few points.
I'm going to do a check here at the line of scrimmage here and go to Faith and talk about your faith journey. I know you said you were saved at 13, but were you raised in a Christian home?
You know what? No, I really wasn't. I lived in a home that was split most of the time. My dad and mom just couldn't get along. But honestly, my dad was a war veteran. He drank a little too much. but we were split a lot of time. My brother and I'd lived with him a while. And my two sisters would stay with my mom, and we were still close. And our parents were both really good to us. I'm not, what happened between them had nothing to do with us. They were good parents for us. But my mom was baptized in a river in Oklahoma. She came from a family of 8 and the only girl in the family. And my dad was a Christian, not a devoted Christian at all. But I was able to surround myself with a lot of those type people, with a lot of good people. And my faith has gotten me through so many tough times.
Well, how has your faith affected your coaching?
I just don't think I could have made it without my faith. And I was one of the few. They frown on this now for whatever reason, but we prayed before and after every football game I coached as a group. If the young man didn't feel like he wanted to be a part of that, we didn't force him. But I don't think I ever had a young man that stepped out of the huddle. But we prayed before and after every game. And like I said, I prayed before every game just for the guidance to be the person that I need to be during that time. And, my family, it's guided us. We lost a daughter several years ago to cancer. And golly, this coaching support and without my faith in God, I don't think I could have survived that. So, but it's definitely been the rock that's seen me through my career.
Beautiful.
That's neat, Coach. We, as you know, our podcast is called Finish Strong, and I want to just take a minute and hear what you're doing now. I know you've recently retired, and how are you finishing strong? I know you've written this book, but tell us a little bit how you're finishing strong as you're getting up in the years.
Well, right now I'm working from my old high school, our school district, mentoring first and second year coaches. They started the program 3 years ago, and I have about 8 of them each year, and it's been fun to watch them grow and be able to help them and share things with them and kind of show them, give them direction. And because this day and time, it's needed more than ever. They're just not getting the preparation that they used to get. A lot of them aren't sure. It's a tough job. So I'm enjoying doing that immensely. I speak a little bit here and there when I get the opportunities. That's something I'd probably like to do a little more of if the opportunity presented itself. And like I said, just being a good husband and a good dad and a good granddad, that's really important to me too. And my wife and I really enjoy our time together now that we've both retired, and we enjoy our time with those grandkids.
Coach, do you have any advice for parents of young athletes real quick? Do you think young athletes are being pushed too hard?
Absolutely. Back off. Let them be kids. Let them go fishing. Let them ride their bikes. Let them be a kid. Tell them to get out of the house and go do something like my mother used to. Go find something to do. Get off that computer. But everybody's trying to lay the path for their kids. They think scholarship is the way. And some of these parents spend enough money in 4 years of high school that they could send them to the best colleges in the country. But just let it all happen. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. They're way too involved. They need to back off and just let their kids enjoy it and deal with things. Let them learn to deal with success and failure. And that
great
would be
advice, Coach. I've got to say, Coach, we're at the end of the show, but hold up your book one more time and just tell us a little bit about the book, Life Coach, Small Town Lessons on Faith, Family, and Football by Coach Ronnie Gage with your good friend, the kicker. I forgot his name.
Tom Thompson.
Tom Thompson.
It's a book about overcoming adversity. It's a book about how to deal with situations. It's a book about dealing with kids. It's a book about dealing with tragedy. It's a book about being successful not only in your profession, but being successful at home and the things you do in the community. And it's got some good knowledge in there. I think some good thoughts and some good ideas and some good stories. And this good. It'll be good to you.
I want you to mention Coach's Corner. Just give me maybe 15 seconds what that's all about.
Well, Coach's Corner is just thoughts and ideas and just giving a way to deal with things, to deal with it. It can be good, bad. We always told our kids, and I'll finish with this, it's okay to be the good guy. And that meant it's okay to love your mom and dad. It's okay to kiss your mom and dad. It's okay to believe in God. It's okay to trust in God and have faith. It's okay to sit in front of the classroom. It's okay to teach your girlfriend right. It's okay to pick up a piece of trash and throw it in the trash can. It's okay to be the good guy, and you can still be a badass on Friday night.
There you go. There you go.
That's it.
And we weren't afraid to tell them. We loved them and appreciated them. And I don't think as parents, as professionals, or anybody else, Coach, we do enough of that. We need to do more.
Yeah. Coach, thank you so much. We're going to put up links to your book and to Coach's Corner. We appreciate you being with us, and we'll look forward to talking to you down the road, okay?
Nice. I've really enjoyed it. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, Coach. All right.
God bless, Coach.
God bless. So there you go, guys. 70 years old, a lot of fire. You can tell he had fire on the field, but his players knew he loved them.
That's right. That's right. No, that's definitely, and that's the difference, I think, in coaches today, and even coaches that I had, and I'm sure that you had. It was all about get out there and win, and it wasn't really the compassion of this is one of my kids. We never got that from my coaches except for one, but other than that, no.
Yeah, I just think it's neat that God puts a man like that, a godly man, into a position to have the kind of influence he's been able to have on all those thousands of kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the verse he reminds me of is Philippians 3:13 and 14. Forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. And when we have success in the world and people see our work ethic and our devotion to God, we can change lives. Yeah. Well, guys, another great edition. And I'll tell you, we've got another Super One ahead. So tell your friends about Finish Strong. That's what we want to do. We're three friends. We've known each other how long, guys? Like 50 years?
50. Pushing 50.
Yeah.
We're still friends, and we're able to do ministry together. So we thank the Lord, and we thank you, and we hope you'll join us for the next edition of Finish Strong.
Thank you for listening to Finish Strong. For more information about Finish Strong and Fearless Faith, check out their website, ffaith.org. Make sure that you rate and review this podcast to help more people accomplish their God-given purpose so that together we can finish strong.